The phone rang. At first, I didn't want to pick up. I do made the decision to leave, to stand my ground, and part of me wanted to keep the distance. But as the phone kept ringing, I felt my heart twist. This wasn't just about being right anymore. It was about saving what little was left of my marriage, or deciding if I was even worth saving. I answered, "Hello, Moyo, I'm sorry." His voice was quiet, almost pleading. I could hear the strain, the exhaustion in his words, but also something else, something new. It sounded like remorse. I have been thinking. You were right about everything, about her, about me, about us. My heart pounded. Was this a breakthrough? Or just another empty apology that would fizzle out? Damien, you don't get it. This isn't just about her sleeping in our bed or taking over the house. This is about the fact that I've been invisible in my own marriage. This is about you not standing up for me, I said, feeling the weight of my own words. I know, he whispered. I've been weak. I've always allowed it to happen, and I've been blind to how much it hurts you. The silence between us stretched, filled with unspoken truth. Finally, I said, "Then what are you going to do about it?" There was a long pause, and then he spoke again, his voice firmer, more reserved. "I've called my uncle. We're going to have an intervention. Just the men in the family. I've been avoiding it for too long. I know I need to set boundaries, and if I don't, I might lose you." The words hung in the air like a promise, like a lifeline, an intervention. Yes, my uncle. He's respected by everyone, even Mama. He's the one who can talk to her and get through to her. I don't want to lose you, Moyo. I love you, but I need your help. I need you to do this right. I held my breath, my heart racing. The thought of someone confronting my mother-in-law, someone she couldn't control, had made me feel like maybe, just maybe, there was hope. All right, I said finally, but you need to be firm with her. You need to stand up for our marriage. If you don't, I don't know if I can keep doing this. I will, he promised. I do whatever it takes. The intervention was set for the following evening. Damien's uncle, Uncle Tunde, was arrived at our house. He was an older man, a respectful figure in the family, known for his level-headedness and wisdom. I do heard about him in person, but I do never met him face to face. He had a kind of presence that could command respect without raising his voice, something my husband lacked until now, it seemed. That evening, I stood in front of the mirror, wearing a simple dress that I do carefully chose for the occasion. I had no idea what about to unfold, but I knew this was a pivotal moment. Either we would finally set things right, or this marriage would become a memory. I heard the car pulled into the driveway. Damien stepped down in first, followed by his uncle. Uncle Tinder was everything I had imagined, dignified, strong, and calm. His presence was reassuring. He looked me over, nodded, and said, "Moyo, it's good to meet you. Damien has spoken highly of you." "Thank you, Uncle Tunde," I said, feeling a lump in my throat. Damien motioned for us to sit in the living room. "Let's get started." For the next hour, Damien, Uncle Tunde, and I sat in tense silence. The door opened. She walked in, as usual, like she owned the place. My mother-in-law. She wore her usual bold smile, completely unaware of the storm that was about to hit her. "Damien, what is this all about? You called a family meeting? What could I do wrong now?" Damien stood up for the first time. I saw something in his posture that I hadn't seen in a long time. Confidence, a firmness that radiated from him. "Mama," he said, his voice strong, "this isn't about what you did wrong. It's about what's been happening in our home. Moyo and I are married, and I've allowed you to take control of our peace. But that's not how this marriage is supposed to be." She scoffed. "Control? You've always wanted me around. I've been taking care of you since you were a child. What's wrong with helping you out now?" Uncle Tunde's voice cut through her words. "It's not about helping. Madam, it's about respect and boundaries. Her eyes widened. Boundaries? I raised you. I am your mother. And I am her husband. Damien replied, his tone still calm but unwavering. I am supposed to lead our family, not follow someone else's rule. My heart skipped. For the first time in months, Damien was speaking with authority. He was choosing me. You've overstayed your welcome, Mama. Uncle Tunde continued. It's time for you to go home. The silence that followed was thick with tension. My mother-in-law's expression twisted with confusion and then anger. I have given everything for this family. I've raised him. I cared for him, and now you expect me to leave? She looked at Damien, her voice sharp. You've forgotten everything I've done for you. Damien stepped forward. Mama, you are my mother, and I will always love you, but my wife comes first. This is our home. I cannot continue to let you disrupt our marriage. There was a long, uncomfortable silence, and then, to my shock, my mother-in-law broke down. She sobbed, tears streaming down her face. I only wanted what's best for you both. I want to see you happy. I thought I was helping. I know you love me, Damien said, his voice softer now, but I can't let you control my life anymore. Her sobs quieted, and for the first time, she truly looked at him. She saw the man he had become, the man who was standing up for himself, for his marriage, the man who was no longer her child, but her son. That night, she left. She didn't say much. She just walked out, defeated but not fully broken. And we were alone. Damien and I sat in silence for a while, not knowing how to move forward. But there was a shift. Something had changed. I could see it in his eyes. The man I married was finally there, fully present. The intervention had been a success, or so I thought. For the first time in months, Damien and I shared a quiet evening together, free from his mother's overbearing presence. We talked, really talked about everything, about the past, about the pain, about the future. Finally, I felt like the woman I was supposed to be, the woman who had a voice, who could stand her ground. For the first time, my husband had truly seen me. I had always hoped that things would change, but that hope was short lived. The following morning, Damien went to work and I stayed home, cleaning and trying to process everything that happened. The house felt different, emptier. I was finally alone in my own peace, in my own home. Then the knock came. I opened the door to find her standing there, as usual, with that determined look in her eyes, the same look she had when she decided she was in charge. I'm here to see my son, she said, stepping past me without waiting for an invitation. I froze. Damien isn't home, I said, my voice low but firm. What do you need? She looked at me, unfazed. I need to speak with him. It's urgent. I swallowed a lump in my throat. I told you last night that you needed to leave. You can't just show up here with whenever you want. Her eyes narrowed. I'm his mother. I don't need permission to see my son. I shook my head, feeling the weight of the situation crash down on me again. You are crossing a line, Mama. You've been here for weeks, taking over every aspect of our lives. You need to go home. She smirked, crossing her arms over her chest. You think I'm going anywhere? I raised him. I will always have a place in his life, in his house. You can't just erase that. I couldn't believe what I was hearing. She hadn't learned a single thing from the intervention. Not a single thing. All the promises Damien had made me to last night before, all the progress we do made gone in an instant. She wasn't leaving. Damien returned home late that evening, and the first thing I did was meet him at the door. The second I saw his face, I knew something was off. Moyo, I need to talk to you, he said, walking past me into the living room. I followed him, feeling the dread creeping into my stomach. About what? It's about my mother, he said, sitting down. She's not leaving. Moyo, she's refusing to go back to her house. I blinked, unable to comprehend what he was saying. What do you mean she's not leaving? We told her last night, Damien. We made it clear. He sighed, running a hand through his hair. I know, but she's calling the whole family, saying she won't go anywhere unless I made her. She stood there, stunned. She's calling the family? What does that mean? It means she's turning everyone against us. Moyo. She's telling them I've abandoned her, that I'm letting my wife control everything. She's playing the victim. I felt the words closing in. She's lying. I know she's lying, but you don't know how much power she has, how much influence she had over this family. I don't care about her influence, Damien. I snapped. I care about you standing by me. I care about our marriage. I am standing by you, Moyo, he said quietly, but you have to understand. I'm stuck between you and her. I don't know how to fix it. I took a deep breath, trying to hold myself together. Damien, this isn't about fixing anything. It's about choosing me, choosing us. He didn't respond immediately. Instead, he looked down at his hands as if the weight of the situation was finally hitting him. I'm sorry, he said, his voice barely above a whisper, but I can't make her leave. She's my mother. That night, I slept on the couch again. I couldn't bring myself to stay in the room with them. I thought I didn't know where I do stand anymore. The man I loved had made it clear that his loyalty was still with his mother, despite everything. I felt invisible again, forgotten, like the woman I had become strong, defiant, independent had been wiped away, replaced by a wife who could always come second to a mother's hold. The next morning, she was still there. But this time, it wasn't just her presence. It was the phone calls, the family members, the relentless barrage of messages about how I was causing trouble in the family, how I was disrespectful to an elder. I knew what she was doing. She was relying the troops. She was making everyone believe I was a problem. I couldn't take it anymore. I grabbed my phone and called my sister. I need help, I said. My voice trembled. What's going on now? She asked, concern heavy in her tone. I don't know how to fight this, I confessed. She's not leaving. She's refusing to go. And Damien, he's not doing anything about it. He's letting her take control again. Moyo, you have to stay strong, my sister said, her voice firm. You can't let her manipulate you, and you can't let him be passive. You can't let him to be passive. He has to choose you or have to choose yourself. I felt a surge of emotion rising in my chest. I don't know how much longer I can do this. I feel like I'm losing him. I feel like I'm losing everything. You are not losing anything, Moyo. You are taking back control, but you have to be firm. No one can keep you trapped in this marriage if you are not willing to be a prisoner. You are his wife. You get to decide what happens in your home. Her voice and words were the push I needed. That afternoon, I sat Damien down, my resolve stronger than it had ever been. Damien, I said, my voice steady. I can't keep doing this. I can't keep living like this. If I want your mother in this house, then I will leave. He looked at me with confusion. What do you mean? I mean, I can't be the third person in our marriage. I can't keep fighting for space when there is none left. I have to choose. You have to choose as well, Damien. His eyes widened. You can't mean that? I do, I replied. You have to stand up for our marriage, for me, or this will never work. Sometimes the most painful decisions are the ones that free us. That night, I sat in the living room with Damien. My suitcase was by the door, not to threaten him, but to remind him that I wasn't bluffing anymore. I loved him deeply, but love wasn't enough if I had to keep fighting for the place I already earned. I don't want to leave, I said quietly, but I can't live like this. And if you can't make the choices, then I will make it for you. His face was tied with stress. Moya, please, don't do this. I'm not doing this to punish you, I replied. I'm doing this to protect myself. I'm your wife, Damien. I should not have to compete for space in your heart or your bed. He stood and paced, running both hands over his head. She's my mother. I sent her away. It will break her, and keeping her here is breaking me. Silence. Then he finally looked at me, and for the first time in weeks, I saw it pain. Now just guilt, not confusion, real pain. I don't want to lose you, he said, his voice breaking. Then do something before you do. The next morning, I heard raised voices. Damien was speaking to his mother in the hallway, firm, clear, final. Mama, I love you, but I need you to go back home. I have a marriage to protect. You've done enough. It's time. There was streaming. There were tears, but for once they weren't mine. She packed her things and she left, not quietly. not gracefully, but she left. And I stood by the window as her car drove away, my heart pounding with disbelief. She was gone, but peace didn't return all at once. She may have left the house, but not the story, not our phones, not the family charts. That's why I will continue. The family turns to Moyo, accusing her of tearing mother and son apart. Her in-laws send messages, some even shows up at the house. Damien is torn. Moyo started questioning if the decision to stand her ground was worth it. Though the house is quiet, the distance between Moyo and Damien grew. They both emotionally exhausted. Moyo suggested cancelling. Damien hesitated but eventually agrees. They met a marriage counselor. Deep wounds come to light. Damien admits his fault. Stuck in the middle, Moyo revealed how much she felt invisible and betrayed. It's a rocky start, but need one. Just when things begin to heal, news break. Mama is seriously ill. She's been hospitalized. Damien wants to visit her. Moyo agrees, but fear this is manipulation. Her instinct might be right. A family gathering is held at the hospital. Everyone blames Moyo. Mama plays the victim, coughing and whispering that her health collapsed because of what the girl did. Moyo walked out. Damien sees through his mother's act during a private moment at the hospital. She sleeps and says something that makes him realize she's been manipulating him all along. He begins to draw a firm boundary with his extended family. Moyo and Damien rebuild their home, this time with clear boundaries. They make a rule, no more unannounced visit. Damien speaks to his extended family. Some cut ties, some adjusted. Mama is quiet for now. Months later, Moyo receives a letter handwritten from Mama, apologizing, not completely, but enough. She admits she didn't realize the damages she caused. She asks to visit as a guest. Moyo is hesitant. Damien supports her decision. Mama comes. This time she knocks. She sleeps in the guest room, and though things are awkward, it's a start. Moyo narrates how far they have come, from a broken bed of three to a healed marriage of two. She reflects on her strength, her voice, and a decision that changed everything. She may not have won everyone's approval, but she reclaimed her peace. Peace isn't always peaceful. Sometimes it comes wrapped in backlash, in silence, in judgmental stares and veiled insult. Then Damien's mother left our house. I thought she'd be the end of it. It wasn't. It was only the beginning. The first message came the next morning from his elder sister and cousin, Mama Esther. So now your wife has driven your mother out of your own house. Is this the woman you married, Damien? Time will tell. I had just opened the curtains, letting the soft morning light in, hoping for a fresh start. My phone buzzed again. You are a disgrace, Moyo. Women are meant to build houses and homes, not scatter them. Auntie Ronke. I didn't even have a number saved. Then came the calls, not to me, not never to me. They called Damien, one by one, lining up like soldiers to attack. I could hear the frustration in his voice from across the hallway as he paced back and forth, muttering, "She's not a stranger, she's my wife." No, she didn't disrespect anyone. By mid-afternoon, he stopped answering his phone calls together. But the worst wasn't the message, it was a knock at the door. Damien's younger sister, Tolu. I opened the door, forcing a smile. "Tolu, good afternoon." She walked in like she owned the house. Her face had the unreadable no hug, no greeting, just, "Where's my brother?" He stepped out. I said calmly, "Can I help you?" She turned to face me. "Yes, you can explain why my mother left this house crying." I blinked. "Your mother was asked to respect our marriage, not chased away. Don't twist things, Moyo." Why she snapped? Everybody in the family is talking. She raised Damien with her blood and sweat, and you threw her out like she was a common maid. I took a breath, reminding myself not to lose my temper. She wasn't thrown out. She overstayed, and she crossed too many lines. Damien and I made the decision together. Tolu folded her arms. Funny how he didn't speak like that before they married you. You've changed him. I hope I have, I said firmly because he needed to start thinking for himself. Her eyes narrowed. You will regret this one day. With that, she stormed out, slamming the door so hard the frame shook. I stood there, trembling, but not with fear, with fury, with pain, with exhaustion. I had married Damien's entire family, yet somehow I was fighting all of them. When Damien returned home, I told him what happened. He sank into the sofa, buried his face in his arm, and let out a groan. I didn't think it would get this ugly. I did, I said. He looked up. They were blaming you for everything. Because I'm easy to blame. I said I'm the new wife, the outsider, the one who had the audacity to ask for a privacy in her marriage. He reached for my hand. I'll handle this. Will you? I asked, pulling my hand away. Because you haven't yet. His face felt that's not fair. I'm not trying to be fair, Damien. I'm trying to survive. That night the house felt very heavy again. Not because his mother was there, but because her absence left a shadow. We didn't speak much over dinner. The silence between us had returned, but this time it was different. It wasn't filled with tension or anger. It was filled with weariness. Later, I scrolled through social media. A cousin I barely knew had posted a cryptic status. This generation of wives forget that one day they too will be mother-in-law. A few of Damien's family members liked it. Some commented, some tagged others. The message was loud and clear, even if my name wasn't mentioned. The next day, I stayed in bed longer than usual. My chest felt heavy, my thoughts noisy. For the first time since Mama left, I questioned myself. Did I overreact? Could I have handled it better? Should I have just endured a little longer until she left on her own? But then I remembered the night she wore my nightgown, the time she insulted my cooking in front of guests, the time she asked me not to lock my own bedroom door. No, I didn't overreact. I drew a boundary, and the only people who hated it were the ones who benefited from crossing it. Damien eventually sat beside me that afternoon. They wanted us to come to a family meeting the next day. He said, "Why?" I asked, "To explain ourselves." I laughed bitterly. Explain ourselves for choosing to live as husband and wife, for having boundaries? He looked helpless. They're not letting this go. Then maybe we should go. I said, "I think we should." I sat up, staring at him. So you want to go and sit in a room where we will be accused, insulted, and expected to apologize for wanting a marriage that puts me first? No. One said, "You have to apologize, but that's what they want, isn't it?" He didn't answer. "I will go," I said, "but I'm not going to beg for understanding. If they want peace, they will have to make room for truth. And the truth is, I'm not the problem." That night, I opened my journal and write. When a woman stands up for her marriage, people call her disrespectful. When a man refuses to cut the cord from his mother, people call him loyal. But I've learned that standing up for myself doesn't always look polite. Sometimes it looks like choosing silence over a fight, and sometimes it looks like a suitcase by the door. I chose the journal and turned up the light. This war wasn't over, but I was ready. I thought once she left, the silence in our home would be comforting like fresh air rushing into a room that had been suffocated. But silence, I've come to realize, it is not always peace. Sometimes it's just a quieter kind of peace. Days pass, no more footsteps down the hallway, no more unwanted presence in our bed, no more clinging of her bangles in the kitchen, but also no more laughter, no more shared meals, no more of us. Damien and I lived in the same house, but like shadows on opposite end of a world. We didn't fight anymore. There was no shouting, no confrontation, just silence. The kind that made me feel lonelier than when his mother was sleeping between us. Each night, he came home a little late. Each morning, he left without a kiss. We still greeted each other, still asked the routine question. Have you eaten? Did you sleep well? How was work? but they were hollow, performed, like two actors reciting lines in a play neither of us wanted to be in anymore. I began spending more time in the guest room again, not because I had to, but because I didn't want to sit in a bed with a man who stares at the ceiling more than he looked at me. One evening, as I stood in the kitchen washing plates, I heard him on the phone in the sitting room. I don't know what to do anymore, he said. His voice was low, tired, she's distant, cold, like she's not even trying. I froze, the water running over my finger, forgotten. Not trying? After everything I've endured? After the tears, the humiliation, the endless patience? I didn't confront him. I didn't storm into living room like I wanted to. Instead, I dried my hands and went back to the guest room and cried quietly into the bed. The next day, my sister called. You sound tired, she said, picking up the tension in my voice instantly. I am, I whispered. I feel like we won the battle but lost the man. She paused. Is he talking to you? Barely. It's like we are afraid to say the wrong things. Or maybe we just don't know what to say anymore. Moyo said gently, you both need help. Real help. I knew what she meant, but I didn't want to admit it. Counseling? Therapy? A stranger sitting across from us asking, so when did the problem begin? I sighed. He won't agree. Then make it a condition. If he wants this marriage to survive, he has to meet you halfway. That night, I cooked his favorite meal, egusi soup with pounded yam. I wore something nice. I even played soft music in the background, trying to create some warmth, something familiar. He ate quietly, no complaint, but no compliment neither. When we were done, I sat across from him and said the words I'd been rehearsing all day. Damien, we need to see a counselor. He looked up slowly, chewing. Counselor? He asked, like I do just suggested we see a witch doctor. Yes, a professional, someone who can help us communicate again, someone who's not your mother or my sister or some distant cousin with a Facebook opinion. He wiped his mouth and leaned back. We are not that bad, Moyo. We just need time. We've had time, I replied, and look where it got us. He said nothing. I leaned forward. This isn't just about what happened with the murder. It's about the silence, the space between us, the way I feel like I'm married and still alone. He looked away. If we don't fix this now, I said softly, there might be nothing left to fix later. To my surprise, he nodded. Fine, I will go. We found a therapist, Mrs. Adebayo, a calm middle-aged woman with wise eyes and no-nonsense tone. Her office smelled like lavender and warm books. It was safe, neutral. We sat on the opposite end of the couch, hand clasped tight in our laps. Let's start with something simple, she said. Why are you here? We both hesitated. Then Damien spoke first. My mother moved in. It caused issues. My wife wasn't comfortable. I rolled my eyes. That's an understatement. She turned to me. How did it make you feel? I paused, then said, like a guess in my own marriage, like I was sharing my husband with someone who wasn't supposed to be there, like I didn't matter. Damien looked down. And now? The therapist asked. I feel like I lost something. Not just peace, I lost connection. The man I married is still here, but he feels far. Damien finally looked at me. I didn't mean to make you feel that way. I just didn't know how to balance both of you. Because we were never supposed to, I said quietly. I'm your wife. You were supposed to protect me, not try to make us share. That first session ended with no solution, just emotion. But that was something we had started. Over the next few weeks, we kept going. We talked about this childhood, about how he was raised to feel responsible for his mother's happiness, about how he never learned to set boundaries without feeling guilty. I talked about how invisible I felt, how every day I stayed quietly was a day I lost more of myself. I admitted I had begun thinking about leaving, even when Mama finally left, because silence had replaced the war, but not the wounds. Eventually, the silence began to crack. We laughed once during a therapy session. Just once, but it was genuine. He touched my hand in the car on the way home, just briefly, but it was enough to remind me that we were still in there, somewhere beneath the noise and pain. One night, as we lay in bed, not the guest room, but our room again, he turned to me and said,